Hey, Chad Tomaschefski with TSI Today. Listen, we took a detour. Typically, TSI Today is all about the technology and how it affects your life or your business. What we're diving into today is technology in sport. You would not believe the tech that goes into sport. And that all starts at a young age, lacing up a set of skates, putting a football or a ball glove on a kid here at Sports Central. I'm Chad Tomaschefski, Chief Growth Officer with Trident Communications. We're talking to industry leaders about the technology that's changing their business. This is TSI Today. Hey, it's Chad Tomaschefski with TSI Today. Thanks for coming back. We are at our round table, a little different than our normal one that we usually have, but we're, of course, in Edmonton instead of Calgary today. Cool table in the back room here at Sports Central, in a room filled with some incredible memorabilia. I got some antique golf clubs and skates and gear back here. I got a cool picture of Wayne Gretzky that Walter Gretzky signed on the bottom. Messier in the back, Mr. Hockey. You know, we've got the Edmonton Flyers. I have some learning to do on that one. Glenn Hall, who I just learned played 647 consecutive hockey games as a goalie without a mask. Different times then. But the thing that strikes me the most about this is a picture that's directly behind you guys right now. It is Cecil Goldstick, also known as Tiger. And he really started this all out. Can you talk a little bit about his contribution to where we are today?
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy that just cared about kids and kids being active, and literally out of the trunk of his car, you know, had some used sports equipment, and there was kids that didn't have things, and so we just got that in the hands of those kids. Like, so amazing that 33 years later, we're still continuing to distribute equipment.
That's incredible. Just think that someone did that. Now I understand he had a TV program of his own. Something about popcorn, he said?
Yeah, he was part of, when you grew up in Edmonton, Chad, when you're my age, there was a show after school back in the days when there was like 3 channels. So every kid came home from school, watched the same show back then, called Popcorn Playhouse, out of CFRN out in the West End, one of the heritage TV stations in Edmonton, and he was the sportscaster for them. So he'd come on to Popcorn Playhouse. He was a big crossing guard guy, and he had his crossing guard of the week, and he was a big guy in town when it was a much smaller town. And yeah, he's the roots of this place, and we're proud to say it.
That's awesome. Your golf tournament, you have a lot of celebrities that show up there.
Yeah, we'll try to.
And I've had the opportunity to shake a few hands there. It's been a pretty surreal experience at times. Do some of these celebrity athletes ever get involved in, you know, either donating gear here or going out to communities?
Yes, we have a real good program that we're working on with the help of a local kid who played a bunch of years in the NHL named Nick Holden. And what we do is, when you're an NHL player and you sign an equipment deal with, say, CCM, they give, in the contract, there's a certain amount of free sports equipment that each player gets. Now, we try to entice the player to, I mean, he probably doesn't need more hockey equipment because they get it anyway, to give it to us. And we have a bit of a program now with a few guys. Colton Parayko from the St. Louis Blues and Team Canada has been part of that. Jake DeBrusk with the Vancouver Canucks is a huge friend of Sports Central. And they'll kind of funnel their contractual deal with Bauer or CCM or whatever, or Warrior. And that'll turn into, through the magic of Janna, will turn into a big load of new helmets or new equipment that we need. And it's courtesy of a few NHL players, and we're always looking for more if you know any.
Sunil, if you go to college football in the US, they do a lot of analytics there. Are we starting to see analytics spread into sport for young people in Canada?
I think gradually, the reason analytics has a role at the table of front offices right now is because teams are looking for efficiencies. You know, they're looking for ways to find the next, gem out there, or find another strategy to help them score more goals. And so really that's the driving reason why front offices are all about analytics right now. And then in the fan community, you have people like myself and others who just have a genuine curiosity. And then you have people who are playing fantasy league or gambling. They also want to know about analytics as well. In terms of like youth sports, I don't think it's growing as fast as where it is everywhere else. But I think coaches are trying to find an edge for their team. And if there is data out there, they will try to find it. It's just most leagues don't track that level of detail just yet. Having said that, when you see other sports like football, and for me personally, like I watch a lot of cricket and tennis, I know all those industries, they're booming right now with analytics. You can't have a conversation without it, and it's at all levels. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see hockey eventually get to that point as well.
Analytics playing a big role in what you're doing too then, because you're getting that data so much more as a journalist that you're able to apply that?
Yeah, I want to say, I don't understand cricket. How would I understand cricket analytics? Oh, for sure. As an older journalist and the guy that's been writing hockey for a long time, I've been able to be part of the, watching the written word get sort of encroached upon now by more and more numbers, right? I'm a sort of a storyteller, and to me, it's interesting you say that, because I heard Cecil earlier was saying that trying to write it in such a way and present this, there's so many statistics now, like they are tracking everything. But as a writer and a reader, to me, the biggest goal is to present the analytics story and tell the tale, but make that piece of literature not be like a math thesis paper that makes my eyes glaze over, right? That's the challenge, because numbers are generally can be a little bit dull. So I put them in my copy a lot more than I used to, but I'm always wary that I'm not causing my reader to tune out, because we all hated math in school, or at least most of us did.
I definitely did. This has just been such an awesome experience. In the background, you guys might be hearing right now, we've got skates getting sharpened for some fortunate young kid in a northern community here in Alberta. They're going to lace those up and go play hockey. I think something that is so neat is the amount of new Canadians that are coming to Alberta, and they want to play hockey. They want to play some sort of sport. Is there some statistics on how many new Canadians you're seeing every year?
Yeah, we were a couple of years ago when obviously things were happening globally and we had a lot of newcomers coming to Canada. We were as high as 35% serving newcomers, and right now sit around 22% for that. So absolutely serving those families. And some of them, it's not that they're going to get here and be comfortable and just getting into hockey, but they start by being on a skateboard or just kicking a soccer ball around at the park or riding a bike. And so then it allows them that development and feeder system to get into some of those competitive sports and stuff. And I think it's a great service, great story. We had a girl that we provided some badminton rackets to, and her neighbor, they did not speak English, they didn't speak the same language, and so, but they were able to play badminton together. And so, that's what a piece of sports equipment did for these two girls that were neighbors.
I often say that technology is universal language, because I can take three people from three different parts of technology and stick them in the same room, and within minutes they are talking about tech. I guess that's really true for sport as well. You just really proved it there, right? Because you got two young kids that don't speak the same language, but they probably had a blast playing badminton with each other. So it just becomes universal. That's so cool to be part of that. Hey, I got one last question, guys. This question's for you too. Leave it in the comments down below. Who's gonna win the Battle of Alberta?
Hockey?
Yeah.
It's, what? Give the Flames credit. They weren't supposed to be this good this year, right? I think they're ahead as we speak. I believe the Flames are ahead of the Oilers in the standings, or are they right with them?
Right with them right now.
Right with them. So give them credit. When the season's over, they won't be right with them anymore.
Fantastic. Hey, Chad Tomaschefski here with TSI Today. Thanks for joining us on this very special edition of TSI Today with these wonderful guests. Thanks for watching TSI Today. I'm Chad Tomaschefski, Chief Growth Officer with Trident Communications. Catch up with us next time when we learn more about technology and how it's changing business today.